Hello, white people. Have you ever wondered who rules over our rulers? If you watch Potato Joe Biden talking in front of the TV cameras, he's reading a teleprompter. So every pause he makes, every gaffe he utters, this is all pre-planned. He's just reading from the teleprompter. He's an actor, just like Trump was, just like Obama was. He's just another actor. Presidents are selected, not elected. And for some reason, the powers that be want people to think that Biden has dementia. Well, he doesn't have dementia. If you've ever known anybody who has dementia, he doesn't act like somebody who has dementia. He's just reading off of a script. Like I said, if you watch his face, you can tell he's reading off of a script. Anyway, so what I want to do in this video is, let's see here, just find out how the One World Order was created, because we are in the midst of the One World Order and in the midst of the beast system. So how did this escape us? How was this all created without people actually knowing this, or people, fighting against it? Well, Satan works in subtle ways, and Satan always caters to your lust. Even though people will try to tell you that, Satan is evil, and it's always going to be pain and agony, and God is the one that issues that pain and agony to you, not Satan. Satan gives you everything that you want, everything that you lust after. So let's start here with the Bretton Woods Agreement and System. What was the Bretton Woods Agreement and System? The Bretton Woods Agreement was negotiated in July 1944 by delegates from 44 countries at the United Nations Monetary and Financial Conference held in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire, in the United States. Thus the name Bretton Woods Agreement. Under the Bretton Woods system, gold was the basis for the U.S. dollar, and other currencies were pegged to the U.S. dollar's value. All right, so now we got one world currency. The Bretton Woods system effectively came to an end in the early 1970s when President Richard M. Nixon announced that the U.S. would no longer exchange gold for currency. So this makes me think that this whole scandal with Richard Nixon was created to cover up the fact that the U.S. would no longer exchange gold for U.S. currency. That's how they get all this stuff under the radar. I can only imagine, after the dust from this stupid pandemic settles, what sort of nefarious activities these people were conjuring up, and what's going on. Why did we have to have this pandemic, and why did it have to financially decimate people? Well, it's just a matter of going down this rabbit hole, and we'll find out sooner or later. The Bretton Woods Agreement and System explained. Approximately 730 delegates representing 44 countries met in Bretton Woods in July of 1944 with the principal goals of creating an efficient foreign exchange system, preventing competitive devaluations of currencies, and promoting international economic growth. The Bretton Woods Agreement and System were central to these goals. The Bretton Woods Agreement also created two important organizations, the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. While the Bretton Woods system was dissolved in the 1970s, both the IMF and World Bank have remained strong pillars for the exchange of international currencies. Though the Bretton Woods Conference itself took place over just 3 weeks, the preparations for it had been going on for several years. Of course it has. The Bergs, they just got to plan all this stuff out. The primary designers of the Bretton Woods system were the famous British economist John Maynard Keynes and American chief international economist of the U.S. Treasury Department, Harry Dexter White. Keynes' hope was to establish a powerful global central bank to be called the Clearing Union and issue a new international reserve currency called the Bancor. White's plan envisioned a more modest lending fund and a greater role for the U.S. dollar rather than the creation of a new currency. In the end, the adopted plan took ideas from both, leaning more toward White's plan. It wasn't until 1958 that the Bretton Woods system became fully functional. Once implemented, its provisions called for the U.S. dollar to be pegged to the value of gold. Moreover, all other currencies in the system were then pegged to the U.S. dollar's value. The exchange rate applied at the time to set the price of gold at $35 an ounce. What are the benefits of the Bretton Woods currency pegging? The Bretton Woods system included 44 countries. These countries were brought together to help regulate and promote international trade across borders. As with the benefit of all currency pegging regimes, I like that word, regimes. Currency pegs are expected to provide currency stabilization for the trade of goods and services as well as financing. All of the countries in the Bretton Woods system agreed to a fixed peg against the US dollar, with the diversion of only 1% allowed. Countries were required to monitor and maintain their currency pegs, which they achieved primarily by using their currency to buy or sell US dollars as needed. The Bretton Woods system therefore minimized international currency exchange rate volatility, which helped international trade relations. More stability in foreign currency exchange was also a factor for the successful support of loans and grants internationally from the World Bank. The IMF and World Bank. The Bretton Woods Agreement created two Bretton Woods institutions, the IMF and the World Bank, formally introduced in December 1945. Both institutions have withstood the test of time. Globally serving as important pillars for international capital financing and trade activities. The purpose of the IMF was to monitor exchange rates and identify nations that needed global monetary support, so basically loans. The World Bank, initially called the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, was established to manage funds available for providing assistance to countries that had been physically and financially devastated by World War II. Oh, really? Huh. Physically and financially devastated by World War II. Huh. I wonder who's the one that... Do you see these people? They destroyed Western Europe. They destroyed Europe. And then they loan people money to rebuild Europe. And in the process of rebuilding, they create a new history. A phony history. In the 21st century, the IMF has 189 member countries and still continues to support global monetary cooperation. Tandemly, the World Bank helps to promote these efforts through its loans and grants to governments. Do you see who rules over us? It's the folks who provide the loans and the grants to governments. The Bretton Woods system's collapse in 1971 concerned that the U.S. gold supply was no longer adequate to cover the number of dollars in circulation. President Richard M. Nixon devalued the U.S. dollar relative to gold. After a run on gold reserve, he declared a temporary suspension of the dollar's convertibility into gold. By 1973, the Bretton Woods system had collapsed. Countries were then free to choose in any exchange arrangement for their currency, except pegging its value to the price of gold. They could, for example, link its value to another country's currency or a basket of currencies, or simply let it float freely and allow market forces to determine its value relative to other countries' currencies. The Bretton Woods Agreement remains a significant event in world financial history. The two Bretton Woods institutions it created in the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank played an important part in helping to rebuild Europe in the aftermath of World War II. Subsequently, both institutions have continued to maintain their founding goals while also transitioning to serve global government interests in the modern day. So basically their agenda is to decimate countries to the point where they need to borrow money to rebuild, and in the process of rebuilding, they recreate that country's history. So I think that they probably do this just about every time a generation dies off. So now the folks who were born in 1900 are gone. The folks who, were part of the pioneer movement, the industrial age, all this stuff, they're gone. And so now these entities that rule over the globe, I guess you could say, they're doing this again. So we have another generation of people that are gone. So it's time to rewrite history. All right, white people, that's the damage for now. Thank you so much for listening. I look forward to your comments below.